Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Nicklix. Today I'm going to create a video that will explain and you the core concepts of Python, and I will make a single video for that will be of around 1.5 hours, and it will contains all the the basics of Python, its variable declarations, and the list tuples, and all the functions, how it can be declared, and how can you declare the comments, the math string functions, the how user can input, and the file handling, how you can read, write, and delete files, and many more things. So let's start with the tutorial part. Fine. If you want to print something in the Python is, then you have to simply write as hello to Python. So here I have created a file. I'm using a PyCharm. PyCharm is a software, a GUI environment, which can be downloaded from jetbrains.com, and you can just download it and install it. And by creating a first project over there, like the main.py file will be default opened in front of you. So if you want to run this file, right click on this file and run main. And here the it prints as hello to Python. So again print it's hello. So now it's becoming hello. So by default, what does the Python does is the Python automatically switches to the next line, because print by printing the hello to Python, it will switch to the next line. If I want that it should not switch to the next line, then I can use one tag over here is and equals to double quotes. You have to leave double quotes empty over here. So if I'm going to refresh this, then hello to Python and hello, because the end, if we want to skip a next line, we don't want that after hello to Python the next line will be appeared. We have to write here as end and the double quotes. So this way you can just uh, like escape your next line. So moving to the next part, if you want to declare a variable, there are not any colon or a semicolon you have to declare at the end of your line. So a equals to 10. If you want to print this, print a. So here comes the a equals to 10. So moving to the next part, if I want to do two numbers addition, then a equals to 10, b equals to 20, c equals to a plus b. And if we want to print this, then print the sum is comma c. So c is a variable that is holding the value of a and b. So here the sum is 30. So in this way you can just add two numbers. And moving to the next part, we can define that how to declare an if statement in Python. So if c equals to 30. See, there are not the curly brackets that are available that you can declare in your C part or the C++ programming language. You can just declare as like if c double equals to 30, then a colon should be like used. And in the next line, if you are going to type over here, it will be coming in the same line. So if you want that if c equals to 30 and something will be printed, then you have to press here the tab button. So tab will take you to the next section, or the section of statements which will be executed if the condition stands true. So I will write here as print, it will be a right guess. And moving to the next part, the else, and I have also write here the column part, else print wrong guess. So how it will be working, like we have a value of c as 30. So if c equals to 30, then printf its right guess. So c is equals to 30, and if I'm going to run this, it's becoming the right guess. Why? Because if I'm going to do this way, then it will generate an error, because there are no you can say the curly brackets in Python. You have to like put a space or a tab if you want that your if if you want that if your condition becomes true, then the next statements are executed. So you have to place a tab before that statement. So now it will be working fine, because if condition stands true, then this will be printed. Same will be in the case of the while condition. So I'm going to declare I equals to 1, and if while I is less than equals to 10, then a colon. And if you want that the statement should be printed if uh, the I stands true, then I have to write here as print I, and I equals to I plus 1. So there will not be a semicolon. So if I'm going to run this, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have not written here as equals to, so 10 is not been printed. So this is being printed 1, 2, 3, 4. If I want that it should be printed in a single line, then I can just place here as end equals to double quotes. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is printed in the front of me. So this was a concept of a while loop. And moving to the next part, then we have if else if statement. Then if I am going to write here as a equals to 1, if a equals to 1 colon printf it's 1, then elif, there in Python we have elif instead of else if. So printf it's 2. So again the colon part, then moving to the next part, it's elif a equals to 3. Now it's print 3. Then moving to the next part, it's elif a equals to 4. Then it's printf 4. So in this way, you can specify a number of conditions in your Python statements. So in the last, we can put it else, then print equals to else. So we need a colon at the else also, and a space with the line space in the front of print statements in order to print that particular statement. So a equals to 1, print 1. I think it's working in a great part. It's the end. We can just put here as a simple print over here. So if I'm going to run this, the 1 has been printed. If I'm going to change its values to 3, then the 3 will be printed because the 1 condition is not true, the 2 condition is not true, the 3 condition stands true. So it will print 3 and it will be just existing. So if I'm going to write here as 30, the no conditions will be satisfied. So in the last, it will be going to the else part and will be printing the else part. So this was all about the elif statements that you need to you can just like check out these else if statements. So moving to the next part, if I want to declare a comment in Python, so if I want to declare a comment, I can just put here the hash symbol, and I can write here as this is the comment. I'm going to run this. So in the last, nothing has been printed. Why? Because this is the comment is the comment section. In this way, you can just declare the comments in your Python. So we have a two I can just provide here like three variables. If I want a multi-line comment, so d1 equals to 30. So this is basically the single line comment. I have to comment in this way, and it will be just like be a comments part. But if I want that there should be, I can use something that should be existing once, and I can put here as 3 double quotes. So 3 double quotes is basically used for multi-line comments in the Python. So if I want the multi-line comments in my Python, I can use here as 3 double quotes. For the single line, it's a hash symbol, and for the multi-line, it's 3 double quotes symbol. Starting, you have to start with that, and you have to end with that. Fine. So this was all about comment section. Moving to the next part, we have declared a variables over here. Like I have declared a1 equals to 100 and print a1. So basically a1 stands for 100. So the 100 will be printed, or we can just write here as the value of a1 equals to comma a1. So the value of a1 is 100. We can assign multiple values in a single instance also, like x comma y comma z equals to y comma z equals to, you can say as It's 1 and it's 2 and it's 3. So I have written here as x comma y comma z. So I'm going to print here as print x y z. So this is a new way for declaring a variable and assigning its value in Python. So 1, 2, 3 has been printed. If I am going to specify the variable with comma separations, comma separated variables, we can also define its value as comma separated. So in the meanwhile, like one will be assigning to the x variable, and the second value will be assigning to the y variable, and third value will be assigning to the z variable. So in this way you can also declare your variables. So the next is you can define this like if you want a common value to all these variables, then x equals to y equals to z equals to abc. So if you are going to print this, then definitely it will be going as ABC, ABC, ABC. So in this way also you can define your variables in your Python. So moving to the next part, we have some the concept of functions in Python. So as we are aware of different types of functions that have been available. The functions are available in C also, C++ also, and the Java also. So Python are also having a functions. So how you can declare a function in Python? Basically, the def function is used. The def keyword is used to declare a function. If I'm going to do as def show colon, again the bracket is not there, so I have to just use the column part. So print hello, this is the function. This is the function. So if I'm going to call this show function, so if I'm going to print this, so hello, this is a function. This is a function that is like a simple function in Python. You can declare this function like not as a normal function, a function with parameters, arguments, with arguments in Python. So we can declare a function with arguments. Let's add two values. So x comma y. So here I can use as t equals to x plus y, and we can write here as print t. So I'm going to call this function add 100 and 200. So I'm going to run this. So here becomes the 300. Basically 100 and 200 values are passed to x and y of the add function. Then a t variable, a t local variable of this add function is declared, and x plus y value that is having right now 100 and 200 with them will be added and will be inserted in the t variable, and then the printf t, the t will be printed. So in this way you can just declare a function with arguments in Python. So moving to the next part, we can declare one more function. Let it be some product, a function with argument in Python and return value. So we have some like we know that some functions we can just call to calculate something in its body part and return the calculated value to the calling area, so that further operations or further something you can say anything, any other operation should be performed. For example, I'm going to call this function as product 200 and t 200 in the y, and just I am returning here as return t. So if I'm going to run this, nothing could be shown. Why? Because I have called the product function. So 200 will be value that will be passed in x variable, 200 is a value that will be passed in y variable, x plus y, 200 plus 200 equals to 400, t is having the value of 400, and return t. So if the product function is returning the t variable, definitely we have to like declare a variable over here. So I can just declare a variable as tp and print the returning value. We can just write here as the returning value of tp is you can say here as tp. So 200 is passed to x of product function, and the 200 will be passed to the y of the product function. 200 plus 200 equals to 400. So t is the value that is having right now 400 with them. So return t will be returned to and will be assigned to tp, and here I am showing the value of tp. So the value of tp is 400. So in this way you can just declare your function with your return value. So moving to the next part, we can just declare a global variable, how the global variable works and how it can be declared. See, like there are two types of variables. One is basically your local variable. For example, I can write here as x equals to 10. I'm defining some function, div my function. You can say here as colon, and here I can define x as 20. So basically, this is my, we can say as printf print. So there is not a global variable. We can just actually like too many languages. We have a double slash most of the time in to declare a comment variable, but in the Python it's hash. So a little bit confusing, right? So moving to the next part is x is a global variable. We can define as the value of x inside the function is comma x. So this is my function, and I can call this function, and here I'm going to just copy this line, and I'm going to write here as the value of x outside the function. So outside the function is x and the value. So x is 10, that is declared outside the my function. In the my function, I have declared the x value as 20, and I'm going to print this value as x. And after the function calling, and again, I'm going to print this value of x. So if I'm going to run this, the value of x inside the function is 20 because this is a local variable. X is a local variable of my function. So definitely it will be picking up that particular value. So as this function becomes ends here, so the x scope is between this blue area, the blue selected area that is being selected right now in the front of you. So this is the scope of the x variable. When this functions becomes exited, so the print here the x, which one x will be picking? Here the x will be picking the global one, the one which I have declared outside the my function. So if I you can say like if I want that the x that is being assigned before the function that should be picked, I can use the variable here as global x. So what does it mean? It means that the x variable that is declared inside the function will be overriding the value of x variable that is declared outside the function. So global variable, the global keyword has declared my has uh, given the scope of x variable that is declared outside the function in inside the function. So x is 10 here. If I have declared in the function global x, so here the x will be changed to value 20. So if I'm going to print here, the 20 value will be printed over here, and if I'm going to print here, the same value will be printed over here. So 20 will be the global value, the value which has been declared inside the function as the function exited and it's over. So same value will be shared with this out with the variable that is declared outside my you can say function. So in this way you can just you can just have your global variables inside and outside the function declaration. So fine, moving to the next part. Okay, fine. So this was all about the function in Python. So moving to the next part, we have some numbers in the Python. That is basically we can declare a variable as 1 means 10. So this is basically the integer variable. Then we are going to declare as y equals to let it be x2 equals to 10, y2 equals to 10.50, and z equals to you can say abc, right? So if I'm going to print its type, so print type x, so x2, right? we have a x2 with us. So x2, y2, and z2. We can declare z2 over here. Huh? We can, because the same symmetry can be followed. So x2, y2, and z2. And if I'm going to print this, the first one is the type of integer, the second one is a float type, and the third one is a string type. So these are basically the type of, you can say, variables you can specify with the help of type function in your Python. So moving to the next part, if there is a variable which I want to convert to integer value, we have some typecasting variables or typecasting functions that converts one value to the other value. So x3 is a variable and I'm going to use as 10.50. If I'm going to convert it into the integer value, I can just put here as int and x3. So x3 right now, if I'm going to print here as it will be printing as 10.50. In the very next line, if I'm converting it to the integer part, so the point function, so 10.5, the normal variable value of the x3, and if I'm going to convert it into the integer part, so int, and in the bracket I can put here as x3, so the point part will be truncated. So moving to the next part, if x4 is having the value of 5 and if I want to convert it into float, so float, and in the float I can convert here as x4, so print x4, so 5.0. So we can convert an integer value to the float value, to the float type with the help of you can say the float function. So in this way, in the similar, if we have a value of x5 as 100, and if I want to convert it into the string value, so print str is a function that will convert it into the string value. So x5, and if I'm going to print this, so x5 is 100, so this 100 is basically the string value. Like in the old days when we were in the school, we used to convert, like we used to solve some programs, let it be the a plus b equals to ab. So this is basically a string. If I like convert x6 value as a string, and if I'm going to plus this x5 and x6 with each other, so it will be becoming 100 or it will just concat the values if it is a string variable or a string value. So this was all about your this variables, the typecasting variables, how you can typecast them into your different ways. So moving to the next part, we have some string variable string functions. So for example, let it be p equals to hello world or hello Python. So here what I can do here is, if I want to print as print p, it's the p first value, so print, so here the e will be printed because the index of any you can say string or anything else will starts from 0. So h is basically the zeroth at the 0 index and e is basically on the first index. So I have written as p1, so p1 will print here as E. If I'm going to print here as P0, then the H will be printed. So if I want to like put a loop over here on the string part, so for some variable X in you can say P, and this we can say bracket, I think some like we can put here as there will be not a bracket over here. So for X and P, and I can print here as print p. So x is a variable that will that will fetch the value the characters of p sequentially and in like one by one. So if I'm going to print this, so hello, it's hello Python, and sorry, I have to write here as x. So print, so it's printing in one by one step. If I'm going to write here as end, so hello Python is being printed. We can just, if I'm going to like remove the end part, so one by one, first of all the h is being like transferred to x, and printf x, the x will be printed, like the h will be printed, and in the next part, like the e will be transferred to x from p, and similarly the l, lo, python, and all the things will be printed one by one. So moving to the next part, if I want to like print like how much is the length of the p variable, so for that we can just put here the length function, print length, and the p variable. So length of the p is 12, so it will also include spaces in between. So if you want to calculate the length of a string variable, you can use the length function. It will be helping in checking your how much how much is the length of your character. Fine. So moving to the next part, there are just like few functions that also exist in your Python. So I have a text over here, and we can write here as hello to Python. How are you? So this is the line, and if I'm going to write here as print, you can say Python, print Python in txt. So print, so it's basically saying true. Why it's saying true? That we have like the python is being present in your txt. So I'm just checking that if python in txt means if python word is existed in, is present in your txt string variable, then it will be printing as true. So we can write a condition also, like if I'm writing here as if python in txt, then print python text, python word is present in txt. So let's run this. So definitely python word is present in txt. So if you want to just check that if any word is been present in your line, then you can use this type of functions. So these are basically the functions that are that in used in performing some string functions. So moving to the next part, we have like the b variable, or we can just declare as p1 variable, and the hello world. So if I'm going to write here as print p1 p1 2 comma 5. So if I'm going to run this, so llo, why llo? 0 is having the h variable with them, h character with in it. E is also having the first index is having e, and the second is index is having l. So l, second, third, fourth. So here second is L, so we have written here as second, so it will be starting from second. So and the third, fourth, so third and fourth up till before fifth, it will be ending. So in this way we have some other functions also, p1 colon 5. So if I'm going to run this, it is being like displaying me the variable as hello. So up till 5 it will be displaying. So if I'm going to do here as let it be 3, so now it's up till 3. So 0 1 2 means less than 3, because it's always starts from your you can say the beginning, the 0 part. So in this way you can just print your desired output. So print, then the next function is p1. We can specify here as like from where to where you want to like pick the values.
So minus 5, so WOR. So in the reverse manners, minus 1, minus 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, and how much it will be picking? It will be picking the two values. So from where? It's minus 1, minus 2. So up till minus 2 means WOR, starting from W minus 5 up till minus 2. So in this way, you can have some string functions in your Python. You can use this string function. So moving to the next part, we have print like p1 dot upper. Upper is a function, so it will convert your like whatever you have with your string into the uppercase. So lower, so lower is also going to convert it into the lower case. And if you have some spaces in between, and if you are going to print this, and there will be some space that will be existing, like the blue area which has been selected, which has been selection, this is basically the space. So if I want that space should be like removed, so hello p1 dot strip. So strip function is basically to remove the space. So right now, after hello world, nothing is being selected because here, like if I'm going to select this, so here it is being selected, but when I have used the strip function, it is not being selected because the space which was being occupied earlier is being removed from here. So print, if I want something to replace, p dot replace which one? So I need to replace the h with we can say 1 2 3. So if I'm going to run this, so h is replaced with 1 2 3. So if you want to replace something, you can just use the replace function of your replace string function. So if you want to split it, let me start splitting it. It's p1. So p1 dot split. So we can write here as single quote, and not a double quotes or a single quote. We can just put here as space. So if I'm not going to put any space, so we need a space over here because hello world. Okay, we have something two spaces in between at the last, so that's why it was just using. So p1 dot split. So here the hello world is being split into two parts. We have one uh, hello in the zero index, and the first index is your like this one, your world part. So in this way you can just like concat, you can just sorry, you can just split your string into part. So that was all about the string functions. In this way you can use your string functions better. So this was all about your string function. So moving to the next part, the important part is the list. So lists in Python. So what are basically the list? Lists are the very important, the built-in data types of Python that is used to store multiple values, or you can say you can store multiple collection of data in your list. Along with the list, there are three other types of collections in Python also, that is tuple set on dictionaries, that we are going to do one by one. So how the list is being created? So in Python, the list is being created with the help of, we can say, the first list is a variable. We always have to use the block bracket symbol to declare a list. So ABC, comma XYZ, comma PQR. So in this way, the list is being declared. If I'm going to print the list part, so this way you can just print the list part. So print first list. So ABC, XYZ, and PQR will be printed over here. So there are some very important features about the list are that list items are ordered. These are basically in the ordered format. You can also have duplicate values in a list. I'm repeating this. You can have a duplicate values, the changeable values in your list. So list is also changeable, so we can just change its values to its different part. And like if you want to there are few functions that you can use, like if you want to calculate, like we have three lists. If you want that we can calculate the length of the list, then we can just use as printf first list. So whatever the length of list will be there, it will be printed. So 3 is having the list length, so it will be printed in front of us. So we were also saying that it can have a duplicate value. So if you want to declare ABC again, so it can be declared. So here the ABC XYZ PQR and the again ABC is being declared. So in this way, you can just put duplicate values in your list. And moving to the different part, we can have the multiple data types in list also. For example, if I'm going to declare here as second list, so second list, in the first part, I'm going to declare a string variable. In the second, I'm going to declare a integer variable. In the third, I'm going to like declare a boolean variable. So boolean will be the T will be the capital one. So true. And the fourth, I think it's more than enough. Huh? So three values. So if I'm going to print this, print second list. So this way, the list can be stored different data types in it also. So this is basically, you can say, that list we can like declare, we can use. So moving to the next part, there are various functions that are available to the list part. So print first list, and if I'm going to one index, so the first index like the XYZ will be printed in your like because the first is your XYZ and at the zero is your ABC. So here, moving to the next part, if I'm going to write here as print first list minus one, so minus one will be printing from the backward. So ABC is the, let it be, we can say here as JKL. So JKL, and now it is being printing as JKL because minus one will be starting from your the reverse part, the ending part. So print first list. If I want to declare, if we want to like print intermediate or in between, so PQR and JKL starting from your the two part, we can say here as one and like two, one or three. So here XYZ and PQR, because 0 and 1, it will be starting from 1 and the less than 3, so 1 and 2 XYZ and PQR will be printed in front of you. So if you want to print, we have some similar functions of string and list also. So print, let it be slash 3, let it be 2. So 2, it will be A, B, C and X, Y, Z. The first two elements will be printed in front of you. So the moving to this part, because the column is in the front of two, so first two elements will be printed, and if it goes with the ending one, at the end one, so the last two elements will be printed, PQR and JKL. So in this way, you can just like define your list in your Python variable, in your Python. So this was all about list. If you want to like change the value of list, for example, we can just write here as I'm going to comment this in order to just print first line. So if you want your values to be changed of the list part, so I can just here declare as first list 1 and XYZ edited. So if I'm going to print this as print first list, so the new list will be the XYZ edited value. So in this way, you can just update if you want to update some value with some another value, right? So you can just use the list name and the index which you want to update and the value you should assign from here. So in this way you can just like change its value. So moving to the next part, we have some insert function. So we can write here as first line dot insert. First line dot insert. We can insert here as two, and what we are going to insert here is we can insert here as two inserted. So in the next line, I'm going to print this print first list. So if I'm going to run this, so ABC XYZ, we have specified here as 2. So 2 is 0 and 1 and the 2. So 2 inserted is inserted on the second index and PQR is shifted to the next index and the JKL is also shifted to the next index. So in this way, you can add the particular any string at your particular you can say index. So if you want to append the list, so there is an append function. First list dot append. We can write here as last element, and if I'm going to print here as print first list, and if I'm going to run this, so the last element is been added to your the first list. So in this way, you can uh, just add your own element with the help of index also and with the help of append function also. So this way you can just define your like value. So moving to the next part, if you want to remove some item from the list is, then it's the simple part. First list dot remove, which you want to remove is we can remove here as PQR. So right now we are having PQR in our list, and if I'm going to refresh this, see the PQR element is being removed from the list. So in this way you can just remove an element from the list. For that there is a remove function that you can use. So first list dot pop. So what the pop is going to do? See, if I'm going to call the pop function on my list part, then basically the last element. See, we have a value of last element at my last index of the list. So if I've used here as first list dot pop, so basically it will just delete your like it will just remove your last element from the list, only the last element. So the pop function is used to delete the last element from the list. So there exists a delete function also. So delete first list and whatever you want to erase. So if you want to delete the first element, so xyz edited will be remove a print first list. So xyz edit is been removed because it right now it was on the first index. So 0 and 1, the first index will be removed from there. If you want to clear the list, so if you want to clear, so for that there is a simple function. You can say first list dot clear. So if I'm going to print this, print first list, so here the list becomes empty. The clear function is used to basically you can say it will just clear your entire list from your memory. So we can create a second list over here. The second list has been created, and we can create here as third list, and we can just implement how to like loop, how to make a loop executed in your list. So for loop is there for x and third list column, and here we can just define as print x. Excuse me. So ABC, XYZ, and PQR. So third list is having a value of ABC, XYZ, and PQR in the form of 0, 1, and 2 index. So for X in third list, print X. So X will be printed. So in this way, you can just loop your list with the help of X variable. So for X in third list, first of all, the ABC will be transferred to X, XYZ, PQR, and all the variables will be printed. If you want that it will be printed in a single line, then you have to put here as end equals to double quotes. So it will be printing in this line. So there are different ways to print a list variable. Like we have for I in you can say the range is a function, and we can just define as length by calculating the length of the third list, and we can define here as print third list I. So if I'm going to print this again, the ABC, XYZ, and PQR will be printed. So there are different ways to print a list. We can print in the form of this X also, and if you want that the length function is used, so we can print in this format also. So these are the simple type of you can say the ways by which you can print your list. If you want to just sort your list part, so for sorting, there is a function called sort. So sort, simply you have to like call the sort function. So here it's ABC, XYZ, and it's PQR. So print third. Uh, we have the third list with us, and the third list is being sorted. We can just have a variable in here p equals to third list dot start, and p, let it be p9. So we can just we don't need so third list, so if I'm going to print this, so ABC, PQR, and XYZ. So we just need a list a list, and the sort function is to be called, and then we have to print third list. So it will be comes because I have written here as ABC, XYZ, and PQR. So it is being sorted in the form of ABC, PQR, and XYZ. So if I want to sort this list in the descending order, so this list sort, and I can specify here as reverse equals to true. So if I'm going to print this, my list will be sorted in the you can say descending order. So here XYZ, PQR, and ABC, it is being sorted in the descending order. So in this way, you can just your sort your list in the ascending and descending order. So moving to the next part, if I want the list, we can say here as copy list is a variable, and I can just put here as third list dot copy. So copy function will just copy your list to your another variable. So print copy list. So XYZ, PQ, and ABC, because here third list is value. The third list value is XYZ, PQR, and ABC. After reversing it, so if I want to copy this list, it will be simply third list. Whichever list you want to copy, third list dot copy, and you need a variable to store the copier list, and you can just print here as copy list. So the list will be copied, and now the last one is your we can have here whereas a1, and we can just like a, B, and C variable is being printed, and we can say J2 and here 1. So we can just here put 1, 2, 3 values, and we can uh, write here as J3 equals to J1, J1 plus J2, and here I will be printing as print J3. So in this way, you can just concat your list. First of all, the value of ABC will be concatenated, and the last, the value of 1, 2, 3 will be concatenated. So this was all about the list function, how the list is being executed, how the different function of the list, these all are the features of your list part. So moving to the next part, we have the next topic is of tuples. So the major property of tuples are that tuples are unchangeable. We can't change a tuple. Unlike list, we can just use append function to add some another value in the list. But in the case of tuples, we can't change its value. Means the tuples are unchangeable. So if I am going to declare a tuple, it's tuple 1. So tuple 1, always the tuple are declared in the round brackets. So it's 1, let it be 2, as list was declared in your the square brackets, but tuples are always declared in your round brackets. So tuple 1, so printf, it's 1, 2, 3. The tuples is being printed. So the major difference between the list and tuples are the list is changeable, whereas tuples are unchangeable. So duplicate values are allowed in your tuples also. So if I'm going to write 1 over here, so it will be printed. Then you can declare its length variable. For example, the same function that are of list, the same functions that can be, you can just operate on your tuples also. So these are the basic so the major difference between tuple and your this list is that tuples are unchangeable. So for that, we can just, if you want to access some values of tuple is, then the same functions as we used of list, the same tuple 1, the first index, it will be going to print as 2, because I can print here as tuple also, nah? So in order to have a much better clarification, so print, we can say tuple 1. So here I'm that all the tuple has been printed, and if I print the first index is having the value of 2, the 2 will be printed. So I have been saying that tuples values are unchangeable. Let's try to change a value of tuple. So tuple 1 dot append, we can use the append function. It's tuple 1, the append function. If I'm going to use here as 4, so if I'm going to check, so here and print tuple 1, so list. So here what it is been going to do here is it is not going to add your fourth value. So whenever I'm going to add your append a value in your tuple, it's not being added. So this is basically the major difference between your tuple and list. So uh, this is your major difference. So if you want, but there are some conditions that if you want your values to be added in your tuple, then what we can do. So in order to add your value in your tuple, or if you want to change its value or append its value, first of all, you have to convert this tuple to your string, a list. So there is a tuple 1. I have converted my tuple. The tuple 1 is containing your value 1, 2, 3, and 1, and I have converted that value, that tuple, to the list and stored in y. So with the help of y append functions, as we know that append, uh, we can just change the value of list. So with the help, after converting it into the list, and y is having a list with me, I'm using the append function. So I am appending 4 to my list, and again I'm converting this to my tuple with the help of tuple and the function. And if I'm going to print here as print y, So now print tuple 1, and now it contains me the value of 4. So with direct reference to the append function with tuple, the tuple will be adding any new value. First of all, you have to convert the tuple to the list, and with the help of append function, you can just add the value with add the value, and then that particular list will be again converted to your tuple. So in this way, you can just add your values to the tuple. So the remove function, the loop functions, the same. It is the same as that of your the list part. So you can just check the section, the upper section of the list part, the same function which I have used in the list part, that will also be running in your tuple part. So moving to the next value, the next topic, we have a set data type in your Python. So next is the sets. So sets are basically the values in Python. Sets are unchangeable. No duplicates are required in your sets, and it is basically the unordered list. So declaring a set is you can just declare it's my set. My sets, always the sets are declared in curly brackets. So we can say here, as we can define here the fruit names like apple, papaya, and we can say mango, right? So this is basically the set. If I want to print the set, then simple print my set. And if I'm going to print this, so print the sets have been printed. So if you want to get the length of the set, then the same function length my set. So the length is 3, and we can also just print the set in order to have a better clarification. So print my set, it's my set has been printed. We can define multiple values. We can define here as the multiple values as string also and integer also. And if you want to access the value of the set is, then simple for x in my set and the colon, and we can just print here as print x. So in this way, you can just print the value of set, and if you want to add some value in this, then you can just uh, my set dot add is a function, and we can say here as orange we will be adding, and print my set. So if I'm going to print this, so orange has been also added to my set. So in this way, you can just add the value to the set, and if you want the value to be removed, my set dot remove, let it be apple. So print my set, and the apple will be removed. So in this way, you can just print, or you can just we can also have some pop functions over here, the same function that we have used in the list part. We can also follow that the list section. So we can just pop will erase the last element. There is a function called clear also, the delete function also. So in this way, you have multiple functions of set. So this was all about sets, and moving to the next part, we have the dictionaries with us. So dictionaries in Python. So moving to the dictionary part. So one of the very important topic of Python is dictionaries. So dictionaries are used to store the data values in the form of key and value pairs. So this is very important topic of your Python. So let's create a dictionary. Let it be my first dictionary equals to a bracket, and we can define here as name, and name is John, comma, we can say age is it's mm, 25, and we can say as age 25 and city, and we can say here as New York, right? So I'm going to print this. Let's print this first dictionary. So if I'm going to print this, so it is being printed in the form of name and value pair. So name is John, age is 25, and the city is New York. So if you want to display the first the value of any single element, so I can specify its name. So print this name, so the John is printed. And if you want the full to be displayed, you have displayed the full. And if you want that you want to display its length, so length is first dictionary. So its length is right now 3 because it contains 3 values in it. So in this way, you can just create your dictionaries, and now it's a time to know how to access your dictionary. So you can access your dictionary with the help of this first dictionaries. For example, if we want to check that which city the John lives, so I can just here put as first dictionary, then in the double quotes I can put here as city. And if I am just John is living uh, in city. So I'm going to print this. So John is living in New York. So in this way, you can just pick its value. Also, there is a way of picking its value in the another format. So first dictionary dot its get and get its city. So this way you can also fetch the city part, and this way you can also fetch the city part. Like again, because there can be a difference between the upper one and the lower one, the text. So again, the John is living in your this city, the New York City. So we can define here as key and first dictionary dot keys. Key is an inbuilt function, so print key. So here basically the keys are of 3, the name, age, and city. So these are the key, name, age, and city, and these are the values. So here we can just define as if you want to change some values, for example, I can define here as if I want to change the first dictionary dot value, we can define here as first dictionary, and we can say here as the country. I can write here as country, and it's USA. And if I'm going to print this, print first dictionary. So moving to, so name is John, age is 25, city is New York, and the country is USA. We have updated the dictionary value. We have we are going to update its value. We are going to just add an another key in my dictionary. So in this way, you can just uh, get your dictionaries being updated. So first dictionary I can use here as values. In the further part, in the upper one, have just print the keys part, and now we are going to print the values part. So only the values are being printed: John, 25, New York, and USA. So in this way, you can just put um, make its values to print its values over here. So moving to the next part, I want to change the dictionary. What I can do here is, if I want to change the age of the person to 26. So for that, the first dictionary is being update as an inbuilt function. So I can use here as double quotes, the curly brackets, round brackets, and round brackets, it's curly brackets, then age and the value. So 27. And if I'm going to print this, print first dictionary. So if I'm going to print this, so now the age of John is 27 right now, because we have written as 25. but now it is being changed with the help of update function, and now it's now 27. So in this way you can also update the value of any other key in your dictionary. So moving to the next part, if I'm going to like pop some element in the dictionary, then there is a pop function. So first dictionary dot pop, first dictionary dot pop item. So pop item will just remove the item from your dictionary. So right now the country USA has been removed. One is the pop function, one is the pop item function. Pop item function is basically used to basically delete some specific delete the last element, the last key from your dictionary. So if you want to delete the dictionary, the some this key part, and if I use to delete the age part, so del function is used, and you can just specify the key name. So here the age has been, I have deleted the age, so now the age has been deleted. So print first dictionary is been printed with the without your this without your this age part, right? So if I'm going to loop this, for example, for x in first dictionary, and I can just print here as x. So if I'm going to print here as the name and city will be printed. So in this way you can just print your the keys of your dictionary, and if you want to print its values, so first dictionaries, and in the square brackets you can print it x, so the value of John and New York will be displayed. So by printing the X, it will be just displaying its keys part. And if we are going to print first dictionary X, so X is having the key part. So first dictionary X means first dictionary name. The name will be John, that John will be printed, and the second will be the name will be city, the city will be printed. So in this way, you can just use your dictionaries part in your Python. I hope you understand the various like data types, the collection, the four collections of your Python. That is your uh, the first one was your list, and the second one was your sets, the tuples and the sets, and the last one was your dictionaries. So moving to the next part, if you want to get the input from the user, so A, let it be say a number. So input is a you can say the function, enter the number. So if I'm going to print this, print number. So if I'm going to print this, enter the number, it's saying me to enter the number. So 100 I have entered, and 100 is being printed. I can just write here as your input number is number. So enter the number, so 100, your input number is 100. So we want to just add two variables, so I can just add, I will write a program, enter the number 1, and here I can call as enter the number 2, num3 equals to num1 plus num2, and here I can write as print the sum of two numbers is num3. So if I'm going to print here is so enter the number. I think this was a number. So enter the number 1, it's 100. Enter the number 2. I have not written here as 2. So 200, and now the 100 and 200 will be printed. So in order to convert it, because by default it is string, so in order to convert it into the integer part, we have done the typecasting. So here you can say 100 and 200. So here becomes it's 300, because by default it is been entering in the string format, we need to convert it into the integer format, and by converting it into the integer format, it will be printing your number 3. So in this way, you can just handle your the string one. So now moving to the next part. Moving to the next part, the important one is your the how to create a file. Uh, the file functions, the file handling, and the classes and objects, the main part, the exception handling, I will be covering it my next video. So if you like my video, and you can just subscribe to my channel, and you can just like and share my videos. I'll be covering the topic like modules and try and catch exception handling, and I will cover here the file handling and the MySQL database, how to connect with MySQL database and how to print the uh, data from your MySQL database with the help of PyMySQL library. So, moving to this part, I'm going to first of all I'm going to define like what are the modules in Python. So for defining module, I have to create a new file. Let it be the Python file. I will create my module.py. So it's a Python file. So I'm just going to create my module, and I'm going to define here as define show function and a simple parameter a over here, and printf hello equals to plus a for concatenation, right? So hello equals to plus a. This is a file that I have saved with the name mymodule.py. So how to call this mymodule file in my main1.py? So first of all, I will just here put my import statement that imports mymodule. Then this is basically the my module is the file name. So I will just going to say my module dot show is a function that is been like I have declared the show function over here. So my module dot show, and in the argument as I'm saying showing you that show function contains an argument uh, with a single argument. So I need to pass here the single argument over here. So my module dot show, if I'm going to run this file, so right click run main one. So here it's been showing me hello equals to John. So in this way, you can just create a module. Basically, modules are used to you can just make module in order to save your time, or you can just there are some common functions that are used inside your project, so you can just create a module and embed this module into your multiple files for reusability, right? So moving to the next part, like if I'm going to just I'm commenting this, if you remember, there are three lines, three double quotes we can use for commenting purpose also. So I have just commented this all, and I'm going to call as per, and I'm declaring one uh, directory. So name equals to John, comma, then we can define here as age equals to 25, comma, and the country equals to USA. So this way we have declared a directory over here, a dictionary over here. So moving to the next part, how I'm going to like call this in my the main one.py file. I will just comment over here, and I can call here as my module dot the dictionary name is per. So per, and I need to print age. So I'm just going to print this, print my dictionary, my module is the file name, and there a per is a dictionary, and in that dictionary I'm going to print a key with age and its value will be printed. So 25 is the value that is being printed over here. So in this way, you can just call your directory and the key which you want to call, and its value will be printed. So this is the way to call your dictionaries in your modules. And also, if you want to change the name of the module. For example, if import my module, a file, there is a file name, a big file name or a complex file name. You want to rename it into a something very easy, like I have renamed here as my module as my. So instead of my module, I can write here as my. So this is the way you can just rename your this modules into another name. So import my module. My module is the module which I have been created, and I can change its name to my. So in this way, you can just use your modules in your Python. You can use it in your project in order to create the usability of your some functions or any other thing. So moving to the next part, this was all about module, and I'm going to create a new file. Let it be, it's the file handling. So the file handling is a file that I have been created. So in this file, we will see how to create a directory, how you can create a file, its append mode, read mode, and write mode, and how you can add the text in your file. And also we will be making a short project in which I will be creating a directory, a dynamic directory, and a file that will be created in that particular directory. And in that particular file, we will be placing a dynamic text over here. So let's start. So in order to create a directory, we need like a package, a module named OS. So first of all, I need to import this module with the help of import OS. So os.mkdir is your function that is going to create a new directory. Let's say we are creating a directory named ABC. So if I'm going to run this, the run, so it is going to create a ABC name directory inside your project folder. So if I want to create any another name directory, so os.mkdir xyz, I'm going to run this. So the xyz file, xyz folder has been created. So directory are basically the folders that is being created. So in this way, you can just create your directory in your Python. So moving to the file part, if you want to create a file, then again, you have to create a variable. Then an open function is used in which you have to specify the file name. Let's say it's my file one.txt, and we can place W over here. W is basically the write mode. We have two modes over here. One is the W is the write mode, and A is the append mode. So write mode will delete all the contents of the file, and will place the new content whenever this open function is being called. But if you write here as append, it means that if my file.txt exists in advance, and whatever the text is being written in that particular file, the text which I am going to write here will be inserted at last of the my file one.txt. So let's have the example for that. First of all, I'm going to write here as W, and I'm going to just with the help of basically the open function has will be creating a myfile.txt, and it will be in the write mode. Write mode means you can write anything in that. So write, and I can just write here as testing, writing to a file, writing to my file.txt. So if I'm going to run this, so a myfile1.txt is being created, so it's writing to myfile.txt. And if I'm going to like change its content as again adding some content in myfile.txt. So if I'm going to like run this again, then again it's myfile.txt will be updated. Again, adding some content in myfile.txt. So the text which I have written earlier is been erased, and a new text has been written which I have written over here. So this is basically the W mode, the write mode. If I'm going to like place here the append mode, then I have a file, its text has been written. So I'm going to write here as this is the append mode. Text will be added at the end of a file of the file. So if I'm going to run this, so it's been finished, process finished. So my file.txt. So again adding some content in the file, and after that it is being added. This is the append mode, and text will be added at the end of the file. So in this way you can just add. This is the two modes. If you want to update the file with the new content, then you can use here as W mode, the write mode. And if you want that, if you want that the text which is written earlier in the file that also exists and the new text also exists, then you can implement as W mode, A mode, the append mode. Fine. So moving to the next part, I'm going to print the text which is being written over here. So print f dot read. So uh, f dot read. I have just okay. Basically, the append mode is being open. I have to close this mode in order to fetch the read mode. So f dot close the append mode. The file is being closed, and now I'm opening the file again in the read mode, right? So in order to read the text from the file, you have to open the file in read mode. Earlier it was opened in append mode, means there was not any I was not being provided with the permission to read from the file. So I have just closed my the earlier mode, and I have opened the file in my read only mode, and I'm going to now fetch the content of that file in this. So if I want to run this, so adding some content, this is the text mode. So this all the text is being written, because every time I'm going to like we can do here as the W mode, because the text will be again and again when I'm going to run this, it will just insert the few lines every time which I'm going to insert it. So uh, the new file is being created, myfile.txt. It's the text is written over here, then the cursor closes that file, and open will open myfile1.txt in which mode, in the read mode, and the reference is given to f, and print f.read. So while we are just f dot read will fetch all the contents that will be placed in the file, and it will print onto your screen. So in this way you can just handle your file handling. You can just open a file, or you can just close a file, and you can just read from the file, and you can just write to the file in the append mode and in the write mode. So this was all about your read and write operations. So moving to the this file handling, there is a mode which is called as f dot, you can say os dot remove. If you want to delete the file, so os dot remove the file name my file dot txt, my file one.txt. So my file one.txt right now exists here. So if I'm going to run this, uh, I need to close the file over here, because I have opened it in the read-only mode. So after closing this, we can run here as os.remove myfile.txt. So myfile.txt has been removed. So if you want to delete the file, you can just call this function os.remove myfile1.txt. Whichever you will, the file name you will mention over here will be removed from your directory structure. So this was all about your file handling, and now we are going to make a new project of a short project of a file handling in which you can have a practice of creating folders and all this. So moving to this part, we can assign here as assignment file handling. So I will just import OS, and now I'm going to create like you can say a directory name. What type of project I am basically creating? I will input the directory name from the user. So enter folder name. So folder name has been created. Whatever the folder you will be presenting, it will be created in dir. It will be coming in the directory name, and with the help of this os.mkdir, I'm going to make this folder mkdir. I will pass the variable name over here. So a dynamic folder is being created. Then I'm going to ask from the user that just input the file name you want to create, enter file name you want to create. So file name has been entered over here. So what I need is I need to save this file, whichever the file is made by the user. I want to save this file in this directory name. So to create a file, we need f equals to open. Whatever the name it is there, I can just take a variable f, it's open. We need a file to be stored in directory name. So directory name, I can use plus for concatenation, slash, then plus, and then the file name, whatever the file name. So basically what it is doing is I can just specify the write mode. What it is doing is that it will create a file name which user will enter in a folder with the name directory name. For example, a person has entered the folder PQR. So PQR directory has been made, and then the person has entered the file name. So that file name is suppose ABC. It's aman.txt, right? So pqr was a directory name, pqr slash aman.txt. Basically, the pqr is a folder name. So in that folder name, aman.txt file will be created. Now I'm going to uh, like uh, I will ask the user to input some text. So enter some text to place inside your file. So the text will be entered, and I'm going to now write that text in your this file name. So to write that text, I will just add here as f dot write, and dynamic the text will be created, right? So I'm going to run this file. Let's see what happens. So enter folder name. pqr is a folder name. So enter file name you want to create. I will create as aman.txt and enter the text. So this is my text that will be placed inside my file aman.txt. So enter. So here the pqr folder has been created, and in that pqr folder aman.txt file has been created, and in aman.txt file a text is been placed. So this was all about the file handling. I have created a simple project that will that takes inputs from the user, that takes input of name of directory name from the user, then file name, and then basically it takes the input of text, and that all folder name, file name is being created dynamically, and the text is inserted in that dynamic file. So this was all about file handling in Python. So moving to the next part, the next part is the exceptional handling. So moving to the exception handling, we are going to what are basically the exceptional handling. So exceptional handling is a way to tackle with your errors. Uh, you can just if your program encounters with some error, and if you are not going to implement the exception handling in your program or in your project, the program can ended, it will be ended in a like uh, an unfavorable manner, or in the program will exit. Fine. So if the program will exit, it will not leave a good impression on the user. So in order to handle the errors, we need to implement exception handling in our projects, in our modules, so that if some errors occurs, a proper mechanism should be available, or a proper mechanism should exist to handle that such kind of errors. So in order to use exception handling, we are going to present, I will just make you understand with the help of some example. So import sys is basically your module that has been I have imported, because I need to call the function sys execute info that is being presented in your sys module. I'm going to write this. So I'm creating a list with the, let it be A, and then 0 and 2. For now, I'm going to like create a loop from entry in RL. So here I'm going to create the try. So print the entry is the entry, and now I'm going to divide every entry with my list variable, and if some error occurs, then I can just here put uh, error occurred, comma, so sys dot execute info, then error occurred, I can just write here as I have written error occurred in the like earlier also, error occurred, so I don't need to write it again. So print moving next entry. I will explain you like how it is being like implemented, and for this I need to write this here as uh, print the reciprocal of entry is R, right? So I'm going to run this. So first of all, the value is in the list I have written A. So then it's 0, and then it's 2. So for entry in RL, so RL one by one, every each value of RL will be coming in entry. So starting with the first part, it's A. So the entry is A, the entry is A. So 1 divided by A, a natural, it's 1, anything divided by string is an error. So in the first case, the error occurred. So when I have written this in the try statement, so whenever the error occur in this block, it will always be moving to accept block. So this is a rule of try exception, that if any error is occurred in the try block, the statement will move to the exception block. So it's giving me the error occurred. The error detail is basically execute info is going to tell you the type of error which is being occurred. So value error, and after value error, it is moving to the next entry, and a space is being printed, and again the for loop will be executed. So here the if error occurs, the loop is not going to break. Basically it is going to just like the accept part, and whatever the information you want to print in the front of the user, you can print over here, and you can move, then the program will move to the next entry. So next entry is 0, So again, anything divided by 0 is error. So the entry is 0 and error occurred. What type of error it is? It is the 0 division error, and again it's moving to the next entry. So again it's moving to the next part. So entry, next is the 2. So 1 divided by 2. So the entry is 2 and the reciprocal of 2 is 0.5. So here the answer, so here in the third part, like no error has been occurred, so it will just break over here, and the print, it will be printing the reciprocal of entries, this one. So basically try exception handling is used to tackle the error, like if any error occurs, how your program will behave, how your program will work. That is basically is important in error handling, right? So this was a basic program of the exception handling. Moving to the next program, I can just like put a comment over here, or I can create a new file. So it will be a better for uh, understandability.
So moving to the next part, we can also raise exception manually with the help of raise keyword, because here it is automatically raised, like because we have written here as try and accept block, and if the error occurs, it is automatically the exception handling block is called. So if you want to raise the custom errors, like I want that if any error occurs, I should raise an exception. So for that, I am writing a program. I am going to use as try. Let's make a program with input, like I can just say enter a positive number. So a number is being entered. So a equals to input, and so a number will be entered over here. So if I'm going to write here as if a is less than equals to 0, then raise a value error. So this is not a positive number. So raise is an inbuilt keyword that is going to raise an exception. So then I'm going to write here as accept value error as v, and I can just print here as v. So let's run this. So enter a positive number, it's 10. Like nothing has been printed because it's a positive number. If I'm going to write here as minus 10, so that is not a positive number. Why? Because it's input enter a positive number if a, like this is my now custom error exception, that if a is less than equals to 0, then I'm going to raise a value error, and whatever the message I need to pass over here. So in the value error, accept the value error as v. So whatever the string I need to pass, it will be coming in v, and I'm going to print here as v. So if the exception erases, like if user enters the value not in positive, in negative, then the exception is being caught. So in this way, you can like raise your custom errors with the help of raise function, right? So you can just you can just click over here, and you can also check its details also. So moving to the next part, one more program I need to tell you, that is basically if you want that else statement to be printed in your this exception handling, like if the number is true, or if your condition satisfied, then like the main conditions run, then the exception is run, and if there is not any error, then its else part is run. So how you can deal with else statement in your exception handling? For that, I'm making a simple program. So int, its input enter a number.
So the number will be added, and the assert function I'm using, it's number modulus 2 double equals to, if it is 0, then if it is not, then print that it's not an even number. And in the except, I'm going to write here as else part, the else part, and write reciprocal is 1 divided by number, and print REC. So this is my short program in which I have been demonstrated that how to use else statement in your except part. So run except 2. So if I'm going to write here as 20, so 0.05, it has been divided and reciprocal has been placed, and I have print the reciprocal. And if I am going to enter a non-even value, suppose 21, so here it's number modulus 2. So here it is it's not an even number, so exception is raised, and here it will be printing as not an even number. So if I'm going to enter here as even number, so it is going to skip this exception part, and it will be coming in the else part, because there is not an exception if even number is inputted by the user, input by the user. So exception will not be handled, then its else part is being executed, and in else part uh, the final answer will be displayed. So this was all about your exception handling with else statement, right? And in the last, there is also a block named finally. So finally, a block will always be always will be executed. I'm going to write here only now. Always will be executed. So if I'm going to run this, if I'm going to enter a odd number, so not an even number, and the finally in the last it is being executed if any exception occurs. And if the exception does not occurs, then still, because now exception is not there, the else part has been printed, and still the finally block will also be printed. So regardless your program contains an error or your program does not contains any error, your finally block is going to be executed. So this was all about exception handling in Python. So this was all about exception handling, and this was all about the video. So in the next video, I'm going to tell you about Python with MySQL database, how to insert, select your data in like how to insert your data in MySQL database with the help of MySQL library in Python, how you can select, how you can delete, update, these all operations I will be performing in my next video. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my, go and hit the subscribe button. So in this video I'm going to explain how to create a tabbed pan in your Tkinter library in Python. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, go and click a subscribe button, and do click the notification icon to receive all the notification of videos that I am going to upload on my channel. So moving to your tab pane, first of all, I need to import one more file over here, that is from tkinter import ttk. So ttk is a module that contains some additional components like notebook and your tab control, and there are multiple number of components that ttk contains. So window TK, and in with window title I can specify here as tab paint, and window geometry 400 by 400, and I can say here I will create a tab control, and with the help of TTK I will call its widget the notebook, and in the notebook I will pass my window, you can say the window component of TK. So what is notebook? Basically notebook is a widget. The tab control, basically I have taken a parent widget, And to the tab control, I have assigned basically the tab control is a parent widget of the tab, and the notebook is a widget of TTK library. So it is mandatory to create a tab control which will act as a parent for tab that is being made. So tab control, I have put a reference of notebook in my tab control that will act as a container for my tabs. So I will be creating a tab 1 over here, and tab 1 will be referred to this ttk.frame. So frame is an you can say inbuilt component that will just you can say uh, like it will frame will just place all the controls in your all the you can say label add entry and combo box which you want to place in your tab in one container. So frame will hold all the controls in your one container. So ttk.frame of, and the frame will be you can say will be placed in your tab control. So I have passed a reference of tab control in my frame, and with the help of now tab control dot add, and I will be referring my tab 1 and whatever the text I need to display over here. So text I can say here as tab 1, and I'm with the tab control I have created a tab. So that will be a tab 1, and the tab 2, that text will be on the tab 2, the text will be written here is tab 2. So up till now I have created a tab control that is having a reference of my notebook widget, and with the help of like I have created two frames with the tab 1 and tab 2, and in two frames I have passed the reference of tab control. So frame will be acting as my container to control all the elements, and with the help of tab control I am adding my tab and assigning a text to my tab 1. Means tab 1 will be having a text of tab hyphen 1, and tab 2 will be having a text of tab hyphen 2. Then I'm going to place my tab control dot with the help of pack function, and I can say here as its property as expand equals to 1, and the fill property equals to both. So in this way it will be expanded into my window, and it will be filled horizontally. And now with the help of TTK module I will be creating a label, and this label I am going to put in my tab 1 because tab 1 is the internal name of my tab, and whatever the text you want to write over here, like you can write over here, this is the label of tab 1, and the second one I will be adding the tab 2. So I can say here as this is the label of tab 2. So I'm going to use the pack function so that it can be displayed in the center of the screen in order to use that grid or the place method. So I'm going to use the pack method so that it can just display it into the center of the screen. So here my tabs comes. This is the tab 1. The tab 1 is having a label of tab 1, and the tab 2 is having the label of tab 2. Because I have used the pack function, it is being displayed at the center of my screen, the center of the screen. And same, so I need a tab control. First of all, tab control, this is the notebook window, and with the help of tab 1 I have created a frame. So tab 1 is associated with this frame contains the label tab 1. So I have created two you can say frames, tab 1 and tab 2. Then tab 1 frame is assigned to a text called tab hyphen 1. Then the tab 2 frame is assigned to the text of tab hyphen 2, and tab control, I have added a tab control over here, so it is being expanded by 1 and it is being filled by both. So then I have created a label that I have assigned to my tab 1, this one, and with the help of back function it is displayed in the center, and same is in the case of tab 2. So in this way you can just add your tab 1, the tab pane in your Tkinter window. In this video, I'm going to explain you how to create a dialog box in your Tkinter, and you have to choose the file in your from your dialog box. You can specify the extension of a file which you want to open in your dialog box, and after clicking on a file, you want how to read that the contents of that file and print onto your screen. So for that, I have imported three libraries. One is the from Tkinter import star, Tkinter module, then the Tk module import star, and then Tkinter module. I will be importing the file dialog module and import the ask open file widget from this file dialog module. So moving to the next part, I will be creating a window that will be having a reference of TK, and I can specify its geometry. Let it be it's 200 by 200. So I can say here as window.main loop. And now coming to my this part, I will be creating a button. Let it be a button with a button, and it will be placed in my window, and it will be having a text as open. And after clicking on this, I can just creating a lambda function, so it will open, it will create a function, it will call a function as open file. So here I'm going to define my function open file. So in this function, I'm going to put a reference of file and ask open file. The first one parameter is the mode you want to open this file in, which mode, then the file type, which you need to specify over here. So it's the file types. File types, I can specify like which type of files it will be opening. So its title will be the text files it will be opening, and I need to specify its extension along with the title. So star.txt is the text file which I need to open. So if file is not if file is not none, means if file exists, then I need to open the content of the file with the help of file dot read method, and then I'm going to print its content. So let's run this. So I'm going to run this. So it's been running. I have not here attached the pack method, so it is not, the button is not being shown. So I have used the pack method, so button is shown. So if I'm going to click the open button, my a dialog box is open, which is containing displaying the all the txt files in my dialog. So right now I'm only having the abc.txt file. So let's first of all check what does it contains. It contains with the text as this is the text file. So I'm going to click on an open button, and if I'm going to click on an abc.txt, so the file contents that was written here as this is the text file that is being displayed over. So having a quick review of the program which I have been done, like I have created a window geometry is 200 by 200, then I have created a button that have a text as open, and it will, after clicking on that, it will be open. It will be calling a open file function, and open file function I have written over here. So ask open file will be having two parameters. First one will be the mode, and mode will be the read-only files, the files which can be read-only, and you need to specify the file types which it will be showing. So after clicking on the open, it's showing me the file types of the txt file type. So why? Because I have mentioned over here that file type should be the text files. It should be the text files, and the star.txt should be the extension. So text file is here. So text files and the star.txt. So only the star.txt files that are been existing in the current folder will be shown. So after clicking on this, so abc.txt, the cursor moves to, because after clicking on this, the file is having a reference of the file which I have been selected, means abc.txt reference is passed to this file variable, and with the help of if condition, I am checking that if file variable is not none, means if file variable is having a file, is having some file open with it, then that particular file that is being referred, that is being inputted in this file variable, its contents will be read with the help of read function, and all the data will be passed to content variable. And the content variable, after the content variable have all the data of that file, I'm going to print that file onto the user screen. So whatever the text it will be containing in the abc.txt, that will be like display onto my screen. So this is the you can say the program of the ask open file, or the file dialog, by which you can open your any file and you can display its content either on your console window or on the label. So this was all about your dialog box. So in today's Python video, Python tutorial, I'm going to tell you about the various Tkinter modules and its objects that are used to draw your GUI applications. Like we will be studying labels, buttons, etc. All this in a single video. So for that, I need to import, before starting my video, if you have not subscribed to my channel, just click on a subscribe button and do subscribe to my channel to get all the latest updates of your Python tutorial. So moving without this window, I'm going to see like how to create a tkinter, how to use the tkinter library. So for that, I need to import this from tkinter import star. So tkinter is a module that contains multiple number of classes. So I need to import all the classes from tkinter library into my this window, right? So I will create a variable known as window, and I will pass the reference of tk in that particular variable. And with the window, I'm going to call the title method, and I can just go here as first tkinter. You can say a program or a module. So I can type here as module, and after that I can give it a geometry with the dimension as 400 by 400, and window.main loop will always be called on a method, on a variable on which tk object reference is passed. So main loop will just like open your window in 400 by 400, means 400 width and 400 height, and its title will be first tkinter program module. So let's run this window, right click and the run. And here your first tkinter window is being opened. So from tkinter import star, tkinter is a library that contains all the functions like label, buttons that I am going to teach you in my further videos. So title will be first tkinter program or a module, window or geometry. Its window is 400 by 400, and now its geometry is 400 by 400, and window.main loop will just display the window onto your screen. So this is my base. This is the basic program of a tkinter, and let's start with the next program, which will going to explain you how to add a label, a button, and an entry box in your window. So I'm just copying this file, Control C and Control V. I am going to type it as second. So from Tkinter import star. So this was the first file, and I'm closing this, and this is my second file. So from Tkinter import style, it's window tk window.title. I'm going to say as demo of label and button. So window.title, and I will pass the window.geometry as whatever the size you want to mention over here 400 by 400. So now I'm going to create a label. So we have a label class in Tkinter, L capital. So it's a case sensitive. You have to check before you have to write. So the first parameter will be a window on which this label will be placed, and the second will be the text, whatever the text you want to write in this label. So this is the label, the text which will be I will be placing on this label. And now the label, there are three types of you can say uh, layouts that are used in Python Tkinter library. It's a pack and the grid layout and the place method. So first of all, I'm going to explain you the pack. So label.pack, in the pack you can just mention the side on which your label or your buttons will be placed. So I will create a button over here. So it's a button. So on button we will be writing like on which button it will be, on which window it will be placed. So text, it should be click me, and I can specify its border with bd equals to 2, and just a little bit command that if anybody is going to click on this button, it's we have a window that is an object, and the destroy function will be called, by which it can just close the window. So window dot main loop, window dot main loop, and it will be closed. So here I will just place a button dot pack, and I will just put it into the side, let's say top. So I'm going to right click this, run second. So here there is a problem with this button command, and we can just check here. So we can just check here like window.destroy. I think this should not be there. So it's not a function. You have to simply call window.destroy function. So right click and run second. So here my the label is being displayed. Label is at the bottom because we have specified that label should be placed at the side bottom and the button should be placed at the side top. And I have placed a button. Button is a class in a Tkinter, and it's I have called its constructor, and here we can say the window is the first parameter, text is the click me. The click me is text is been written on the button, and command is window.destroy. So what does window.destroy means? That whenever I'm going to click on this button, it is going to close the window. So we can also have one entry, one input box, let it be its ent, and entry is a class, and we have to place this entry on this window, and on which side we have to place is entry.pack, and it will be a side equals to left. So I'm going to run this. So here it's shown as a text box. So ent entry window, ent.pack is side equals to left, so it's placed in the left side. So basically the pack function is a layout defining function of your tkinter that is going to define on which side your the control will be displayed. So we have a bottom, left, right, and top, and it will just, and by default, if you are not going to specify anything, for example, I'm going to just put a comment on this pack, and if I'm going to place here only dot pack, so dot pack will just place your control at your center of the screen. To other, I have not displayed as pack, so it will not be showing until unless I am going to use this pack function. So by default, the pack function will be your vertically centered. So top centered it will be starting, and one control will be displaying in one line. So in this way, you can display your the controls with the help of pack function. And if you want to display on the left, top, and right or bottom, so you can specify here as the side function of the pack, side property of a pack function. So this was all about your pack function. So moving to the other part, and I'm going to just copy this second.py. I'm going to paste this third. So here again it's window TK little demo of the label, and you can define here as demo of the grid layout. So the next is the grid layout, which you can use in Tkinter to place your controls in the section you want to define. So for that I need a label. Let's say it's a label, and I can specify here as enter name and the first is the window on which it will be specified, and second will be its text, that is equals to enter name. And where we are going to specify this is I can specify it with the help of grid layout, and in the grid layout I can specify it as row 0 and column equals to 0. So it will be specifying in the row 0 means in the table layout, if we can just it's think that it's row 0 and the column 0. And in the next one I can define as ent1, that will be entry, and entry will be defined in window, and to this entry we can define as entry dot grid. We can say here as row 0 and column equals to 1. So it will be displayed in your enter name will be displayed in your first, the 0. We can just like run this file in order to clear all these things. So here the row 0 is a 0 row and 0 column, and the entry 1 is being placed at the very next to its the label. So in this way you can specify here at a grid layout. So I can just copy this, and I'm going to paste this over here, and after pasting I can just label 1 entry 2 and entry 2, and we can specify here as row 0, row 1 column 0 and row 1 column 1. So enter marks, and if I'm going to run this, in the bottom its name and its marks. So how it has been defined, the row 0 means 0 row 0 column, the name will be displayed, and here the entry 1, which is this one, and here it's 0 row means the name 1 row and the column should be 1, means exactly after name label it will be placed. And if I have defined the next label, it's enter marks, that is in row 1 and column 0. See, so it is being placed over here in the row 1 and column 0, and the next one is row 1 and the column 1. So in the next, so in this exactly after your marks, because I have specified here consecutive columns of row 1 only. So the label enter marks has been displayed in the row 0 column 1, and the text box has been displayed in row 1 and column 1. So in this way you can use the grid layout to have control on your different objects that you want to place on the Tkinter window, and you can just use this layout as well. So we have seen the pack function, the pack layout of the Tkinter, and now it was the turn of the grid layout. And after the grid layout we will be using the third layout that is used in Tkinter in Python, that is the basically the place method. So place, for that I need to just I have just like remove all that labels and controls, and now the same basics. So tkinter ty import star tk window title, and we can specify here the place method, the place layout geometry, it's 0. So label equals to again label, and which will be placed in window, and here I can specify here as text will be let it be name. And after specifying its sex, now it's a time to move it with the place method. So place will be defined as your x-axis and y-axis. So x equals to 10 and y equals to 100. And same, I can just put a button, let it be its label 1, and button 1 you can say entry 1. So entry, and I will be placed it in the window, and here I can specify its place as x equals to 100 because I have to move the x-axis, but y will be the same because I want to display at the very next to the name. So if I'm going to just run this, and now it's displayed here. So let's see how it has been displayed. So label one dot place. So window is having the width of 400 pixel and height of 400 pixel, and x label one is placed, and x-axis is from right to left and y-axis is from top to bottom. So x always goes horizontal and y always goes vertical. So x equals to 10. So the 10 pixels, it has 9 pixel, it has been leaved, and the 10 pixel, in the 10th pixel, the name is been written. And then comes your the label place 10. If the x-axis it's 10 and the y is 100, so from top it's 100. This point is been defined, and from this point the name is been displayed. Name is been written. So coming to the entry part, entry plus part x equals to 100. So here from this top left corner of the window, its x is 100 this way and y is 100 this way. So entry box will be placed over here. So let's place a new entry bar. So let it be a label. Label equals to label, and it will be a window, and you can specify here that here text as marks and label 2 dot place, and I can place this label as x equals to 10. From left side I want to place in that particular position, and from the y I can place it as y equals to 150. And same is in the case of entry 2, and I can specify here as entry window. It will be placed in window. So ent2 dot place x equals to 100, because I have to move it to by the 100 place, because I want to display it in the front of marks, and y equals to 150. So I'm going to run this. So here the marks will display. Let's check out like how it is being displayed. So label 2 dot label its window, and its label 2 dot place is 10. The 10 pixels from left, and the y is 150 pixels from the top. Then entry 2, it will be the 10 pixel, the 100 pixel from the left, and the 150 pixel from the right. So here it comes with the name and marks. You can control your controls in the manner you want to display onto your Tkinter window. In which part you have to display that, you have to specify with the help of pixels, and that pixel position will be determined that on at which position your control will be displayed. So that was about the entry. That was all about the place layout that you can use in your Tkinter window, and this was all about the layouts that I use in Tkinter window. In your Python, we have a pack method, place method, and the grid method. So this was all about your layouts. Now moving to the next part, we have to check, like there are labels, there are buttons, there are entry box, there are spin box. Then you can place a picture on the button. Then you have a combo box. You have a menu bar. So these are all controls that you can use in the Tkinter window. So let's make a program that will define all the controls of Tkinter window in your Python. Let it be named as fifth.py, and I will just erase all these things, and I can just here say as demo of controls of Tkinter. So I'm going to make a single file that will specify all the controls of the Tkinter, which is Tkinter Python, and you can just note it down, and let's start. So in this way, it's fifth.py, and just we see that demo of controls Tkinter has been written on the top of the window. The title of the window geometry is 400 by 400. So let's check about geometry functions. So if I am going to use here as window dot max size, so max size will be 200 by 200. So if I'm going to run this, run fifth. So the maximum size is 200 by 200. I'm going to like maximum size, it's 200 by 200. So if I'm going to just increase its width, it's not been increasing because I have specified the maximum size of 200 by 200. So there is a method like geometry, the fixed one, You can go it in the variable size by just clicking on the button of maximize. But in the case of maximum size, your window is fixed. You can't change your window. You can just decrease the size of this window, but you can't increase the size of your window. So apart from the maximize function, there is a function called window.mini size that can specify the size of the element. So by default, it will be the minimum size will be the minimum, it will be a 200 by 200, and maximum you can specify with the help of your like this one, or you can just specify your control in this or that way. So in this way, there is a control name maximum. There is a function name maximum and minimum size. So for now, currently I'm using window.geometry only. Like it's the best way to use that. So according to your requirement. Fine. So coming to the controls part, I can just define starts with the label, and it's a label, and label will be having a window. On this window I'm going to type a text name over this, and I'm using a pack function that will display a control in the center of the screen. So pack, so here the name comes. Moving to the next part, there is a function called entry, so ent, it will be an entry and specifying its window dot pack. So pack function will display the entry box in the center of the window. Moving to the next part, it's my let's create something a new case of entry. Let it be entry one. It's entry, and we can specify it in a window and specify its state as disabled in capital. So disabled in capital dot pack. So open close, and let's just run this. So this is a text box, and this is just a disabled entry box that has been displayed over here. So if you want to disable your text box or the entry box, you have to simply go fill with the pack with a property called state equals to disabled. So moving to the next part, let's create something interesting. We can just specify here as I'm going to specify, we can say just create a button. So button equals to new button, and it will be a window, and whatever the text you want to write over here, we can specify is as text equals to click me, and after clicking me, and we can just here as dot use here as pack. So click, so a button is being placed over here. So let's do some styling over in this button. So for styling, I need to import a file is tkinter.ttk. ttk is a sub package or sub module in a tkinter module. I'm going to import the every class from there, and before button I'm going to create a style. I can just use the style object. I have defined a style, a variable. So style is a inbuilt, you can say, class which I have passed the reference of that to the style object, and I am going to define this style. With the style object, I will be calling a configure method, and in configure method, I am going to specify the variable, whatever variable you want to give here, the name you want to give here, let it be A. And for this button, I need to call a function or a constant T button. So a dot t button I have declared. So after that, I'm going to specify its font. Font will be the first one. In the font type, I need to specify the fonts family which I need to define, then the size which I need to define, then the font weight, either it will be bold or underlined, it will be in the small letters, and the underline. So I need my font to be Calibri, and the font size will be 10 pixels, and it will be a bold and it will be underlined. So I need to specify the foreground color of the text. The foreground color should be red. So I can specify with the help of style dot configure. So in this way, I have specified the my style. I have specified its property. So if I want to use this, I can use this with the help of style property. And in the style property, I need to specify here as the name which I have been given to this. So a dot t button, I have the name given to this. So in the button constructor, or button properties, I will specify the property style, and a dot button will be the name of that style. So if I'm going to run this, it is going to display me the Calibri font, and the 10 pixel will be the size, and the bold, it will be by default bold, and it is underlined. So in this way you can just specify your the style you want to use in the button. So along with the style, if I want to like use the picture over here, for picture I need to just I have just an icon on my desktop, so I'm just going to copy this I'm just going to copy this icon into my project folder with the one.png, or you can say image.png. So to configure an image, to apply an image on this image button, I need to call a class, it's photo image, and I need to specify, you can say, to which one.png it goes, and I have space, save here as pic.png. So pic.png, I need to specify the file name over here. So it was pic.png in the photo image, and I have to specify it in the file property of photo image. So the reference of pic.png is being returned to my photo variable, and here in the button I need to specify a property name image, and in this image I need to provide the reference of the photo image object. So in the photo image class I need to pass the file in the photo image object, the class, sorry, it's the photo image class. I need to provide a property of file along with the name of the image I need to specify, and the reference will be returned to photo. And in the button it's a property called image, in which I have to specify it's the photo property. So I'm going to run this. So image has been displayed over here, but the text is not being shown. So if I want the text to be shown also, I can specify here as compound. There is a compound property, and in the compound property I can specify here as left. So specifying the left in the compound property will take my image to the left section of the button, and the text will also be appear over here. So in this way you can specify your the image and the property of a button in your Tkinter. So moving to the next part, this was all about button, and moving to next part, we can just create a radio button. So to create a radio button, there we need a radio button object class. I can specify on which window it is to be displayed. Then the text which is to be displayed over here, I need to specify the property of a radio button with the variable, with any unique variable that can specify as v, and I have to specify it as value equals to PCA. So dot pack function will be using. So if I'm going to run this, there is a radio button that is being displayed over here. I'm just going to copy this and just changing its name as radio 2. Let it be BCA, value should be BCA, here it should be MCA, and here the two radio buttons. As we all know that radio buttons are the unique references, either of one radio button will always be selected. So this was all about the radio button, how to use the radio button. Moving to the next, we need a checkbox. So checkbox equals to check button, on which we have to specify its window, then the text we need to display, it's playing I need to display. We have to specify its variable name. To variable name I have to specify it's the name of the variable, name of the checkbox. Value on value will specify the 1, and the off value will return the value 0. So this will be the property of your checkbox, and I'm repeating it. It's basically the window. The second property is the text you want to display. Then we know that the user can select two checkbox, both the value of checkbox at a time. So I need to specify the different variable names for both the checkbox. On value will always be 1, and off value will always be 0. So through this I can specify here as check button 2. So here I can specify, I can just check out these both values, the checkboxes checking out. So moving to the next part, there we are creating a month variable. So creating a month variable, we can specify here as a variable as months, and I'm going to create a set over here, and here I can say Jan. I'm going to specify all the, like, March, it should be April, May. So this will be the, I have created a set, and moving to the next part, I will be creating a combo. So in combo, there is a class called combo box, and to this combo box, I will be applied to a window. I'm going to attach this combo box to the window, and it's a property called values. I can specify the variable month over there. So the pack function I will be calling, and if I'm going to run this, there creates a combo box, and all the values, all the variable month which is holding a value of all the months, that will be displayed in the combo box. So here in this way you can specify the combo box. Now moving to the next part, there is a class called text, and we can specify here, like same to the identical with the text area of HTML. It's the same control in this tkinter as text. I can specify its height as 5 and width as 30, and I'm going to pack this. So if I'm going to run this, here the text area comes. So it's a property of text over there. Fine. I'm just going to increase its height as 600, so that all the buttons, all the like controls could be displayed in the easy way. So I can specify its height as 800 as well. So in this way, the text is going to appear, and moving to the next control, I have a control named message. So I can just define here object called message, and I'm calling a class as message, and to this control I'm going to place in my window, and there is a text property that is going to, this is a message box, and dot pack I'm going to call, so pack. So if I'm going to run this, this is a message box that is being displayed. You need to display a simple message. To this you can use message controls. So moving to the next part, that then there is a spin box. Spin box I'm going to specify in on which window it can be used from 0 to 20. So dot pack, so it will be a spin box. So if I'm going to run this, it's a spin box which is going to display your 1 to 20 values in your tkinter form. So moving to the next part, it's a list box. So list box is a control. To this control I will be specifying it in a window. So list box, to list box I'm going to add the value with the help of insert method. So to the first index I'm going to add as India. To the next, the second one, I'm going to add another, and here USA and China. And in the last, I'm going to list box dot pack, and if I'm going to run this, it's a list box that is going to display my three values. So in this way, you can specify the list box, and you can use it into your tkinter window. So next is the menu. I'm going to create a menu bar. So menu bar, the menu is an inbuilt control that is being present in your Tkinter. So I have to specify the menu, to which window I need to like insert my menu to that window. I need to specify it over here. So with the help of menu bar, there's a function called, there is a function of menu add command. So what does add command does? Add command, I have created a menu bar So in menu bar, I need to add a menu. So add menu. To add a menu, there is a function called add command, and through this add command, I am going to specify a label. So I can specify here as hello, and or you can just specify here as file, and I need to specify one more menu. So to this I can specify here as edit. So I'm going to call the window.config, and config, it will be config with menu equals to menu bar. So menu is a control of window.config, and which menu bar I am going to place in my window is this one, the menu bar with file and edit. If I'm going to run this here, my menu that will be placed on top of my window with file and edit label used on that. So this was all this was all about the menu part and the how you can add the menu. And last will be the I'm going to declare a variable as double var, and I'm going to use the scale function, scale control. So scale is going to create on this window, and we need to specify its variable because we need a value from this. So from it will be 1, and 2 it will be 50. So I will, in the last, I will be calling the pack function. So if I'm going to run this, this is a scale that is being created over here. So its value is ranges from 1 to 50. Basically, we give a variable to this control because we need to pick a value from here, because I'm going to make a video in which your scale function, and in which a scale function I will be using and a button function I will be using, and by clicking on a button function you will be getting this value of scale. So in my upcoming videos of Python, these all controls with the help of button and which function it will be using, I'm going to explain all these. So this was a demo of controls of your Tkinter. In this way, you can use all your controls. So moving to the next part, there is a message box, how to create a message box in your Tkinter. So for that, I'm going to create another file, that it be 6.php, 6.py, and to this I can just start with my like it's a geometry, and to this I'm going to remove this. I'm going to import a library from tkinter import message box. So a message box is being imported, and I can show here as message box. I can use its direct method like show warning. Show warning, its warning will be the title, and this you can specify anything. So I'm going to run this. So by running this, it's going showing me the title warning and warning in the text box that is being placed over here. So there are some other controls also of message, other function also, message box also. I can just show error, like it will be a error, and what type of error, like you can specify here as error. Then we have a message box with ask question. Ask question, you can just specify here as confirm, and you can specify are you sure. Then there is a message box with your ask okay cancel, and you can say here as okay cancel, and you can say here as hello Tkinter box. And after that there is a message box with ask yes no. So it's yes no, we can specify here as the title part, and we can say here as understood. Whatever the message you want to type over here, you just specify. So after a yes or no, then the last is the message box with your ask, retry, and cancel, and you can say here as tkinter, and you can say here as try again. So one by one, it's going to show me all the dialog box. So for example, the first one is warning. it's showing me the warning. The second one is the error, show error. The error is in the title bar, and whatever the text you want to display, you can display over here. So next one is ask question. So are you sure? It's showing me you the default button of yes and no, and after that it's hello Tkinter box and OK cancel. There is slightly a spelling mistake over here, so OK and cancel button is being displayed, and in the last you understand it's yes and no button that is going to display, and in the last it's try again and Tkinter is in the title bar, so retry and cancel button will be displayed. So this was all about your message box, and this was all about your Tkinter library that is being used in your Python. And I hope you like my video. And if you like my video, do like and share, and do subscribe to my channel for getting all the latest tutorials of Python. In the upcoming videos, I'm going to explain how to insert data into a database from your Tkinter form into your MySQL database, and how to pick up a radio button value, checkbox value, how you can pick all these values, and we are going to save this all into your database. So thanks for watching my video. Today's tutorial, I'm going to tell you how to add data in your MySQL database with the help of Python. So first of all, we have to create a database, and for that I am using php myadmin. So localhost php myadmin will open a window in which you can create a database or you can insert a database. So by clicking on a databases, I'm going to create a new database as Python database, then create. So here the Python database has been made. If you want some tutorials on this PHP myadmin, and if you want to know some SQL queries, you can just watch the SQL tutorial video. That is the link I will be providing in my description section of the this video, and you can just go through that video in order to like know about various SQL queries, how it is been run, and all that. Fine. So moving to this part, we have created a Python database. In Python database, I'm going to create a table, that is student table. Student table. So student table is being created, and I'm going to make two columns over here. One will be name. I will be taking it as varchar 255, and second will be marks. To marks, I will be assigning as integer 11 digits, because varchar always takes 255 characters and integer always takes 11th length. So by clicking on a save button, my table is been created. So up till now, I have created a Python database, and in Python database, student table is being created. Fine. So moving to this part, first of all, in order to connect Python file with your database, you need a library, that is import pymysql. So pymysql is a library that you need to import in your project in order to connect your Python file with your database. So by clicking on a file menu, you have to click on settings. In the settings, there is a project name, database handling. So if you have a project name with ABC, then here project ABC will be coming. So you have to go in project interpreter, and there are some default packages that are being available in your system. So here you need to add one package by clicking on a plus a new window will be open, and here you have to search as pymysql. So pymysql is a package that has been listed over here, so you need to just click this and you have to just install package. So by clicking on a install package, when the package will be installed, it will be give a message as package MySQL installed successfully. So you need to close this window, and if you have you can see that py MySQL package is also been listed here, but before that py MySQL package was not being listed here. So package, if the package is successfully installed, it will be displaying here. So you have to just click on OK, and if you now now if I'm going to import py_mysql, so here it will not create a red line, means there is a no error. It is being imported directly into this file. So moving to the next part, now a main next target is to connect this main.py file with this database. So for that, I will be declaring a connect variable, and I will be using py_mysql module and its connect function. So the connect function is an inbuilt function of py_mysql library that will help in connecting your this main.py file with your database. So with your with your MySQL database. So py_mysql.connect, the first argument will be the host. Host equals to localhost, because it is a local host that we are being connecting. Then the second argument is the user. User is by default the root. The root is the username, and then comes the password. So password is password equals to blank, because we have a default username as root and we have a default password as none. So I have supplied just blank over here, and we need to we need to specify a database. Database is Python database. So Python database I will be writing over here. So here this connect variable will be having a reference of my database that is being created in your local host, and it has a username root and password is equals to blank. So now I'm going to declare another variable as cursor, and I will just call connect dot cursor. So connect dot cursor will help in opening a database, like because we have a reference of Python database in this connect variable, and by calling the cursor method of connect, with the help of connect, it will be creating a reference to my Python database, and the reference will be returned to cursor. So now the cursor have cursor object have the possibilities to execute the queries inside your database. So I will be calling its execute method, and I will be writing here query as insert into student, because I have created a table name student table. So insert into student table, and the column names are name and marks. So name and marks, and the values will be, because name is having a type varchar, so I will be specifying its value in single quotes, and marks will be normal. Marks is an integer data type, so a simple 100 will be placed over here. So now I am going to print record inserted, and in the last I need to uh, I need to close my connection. So connect dot close function will be called. So if I'm going to run this, you have to just right click on your main.py file and run main. So record inserted, and if I'm going to click here the browse button, but still record is not being inserted. So and what I have seen here is that everything is fine, but I have displayed, it has displayed me the message of record inserted also, but still my record is not being inserted at the backend. That's the reason, that is the main reason for that, is that after executing the query, like after executing the insert into student table statement, you have to call one another method with the help of connect object, because connection is having your reference to database. So connect dot commit. So connect dot commit will force this query to run into your database. So if I'm going to connect dot commit, so if I'm going to run this now, run main, so record inserted message has been displayed, and if I'm clicked here in the browse, on the browse tab, the name and marks is filled with the values which I have been placed here. So if I'm going to place here as Raman 200, so if I'm going to run this, right click, run main. So now if I have to click on browse button, then the Raman 200 will be placed over here. So in this way, you can just add your database, add your values into your database with the help of py_mysql library in your Python. So this was all about your insert statement, and moving about next will be the display statements, which I am going to cover in this video as well. So for that, I am creating a display file, display.py, as I have as display.py file is in the same project, so we don't need to add py_mysql library again. So import py_mysql. So library is been imported. So now if I am going to open the connect method, the same method py_mysql.connect, then I need to specify here as host localhost. Then I have to specify here as user equals to root, password equals to blank, and the database name equals to Python DB. So this is the reference to my, then I will be declaring a cursor variable. So cursor will be helping in executing the query. So for that I need to pass a cursor reference of connect variable in this. And after that I will be just typing a query. So select star from student table. So this is a query which I am going to execute in a database, because in the previous file I need to insert values into the database, so I have executed query directly. But what I need now is I need to fetch all the data from my database, and I will be displaying here in my console. So for that there is a query select star from student table. So this is a query which will be fetching all the records from table student table and will be provided to my returning variable. So for that I will just execute this query with the help of execute function query. And now the query is being executed, and what I need to do now is I need a record variable, so records, and there is a method called fetch all, which will fetch all the records from database and will be placed in the records variable. So here the query is being executed student table. I think student table n is missing over here. So student table select star from student table. When the cursor is being executed, when the cursor execute this query, all the records are being fetched into the records table with the help of fetch all method. And now all the records of this table are right now currently present in records variable. So what I need to do now is for row. So in records, I will be fetching all row from records, and I will be printing its rows 0. First of all, let's print row. So if I'm going to run this, so it has there is a error with this. I think there is a mistake with Python database. So Python database, and if I'm going to run this, so it has returned me the a row. It has returned me the row in the form of sets. So here the Amit and 100 will be displayed and Raman and 200 will be displayed. So if I want some individual records, because how it is being worked, whenever I am going to execute this cursor.fetch all the records are present in records variable. So first of all, the first row will be fetched from records table, that will be of Amit and 100, and it will be printing here. So, and in the next, again, the second row will be called in row variable, and then again the print row will be that particular record will be printed. So if I want some individual records, I can specify here as column index. So if I have specified here print row 0, then only names will be displayed. If I am going to specify here row 1, then only marks will be displayed. So if I want that name and marks both will be displayed, then I can just put here and in order to avoid the next line. So here I can just use as print 1. So if I'm going to display here, like if I'm going to display here, then basically Amit and 100 will be displayed. So here the row 0 have a value Amit, and row 1 has a value of 100. So in this way you can just print your records from the MySQL database in your Python. So this was all about your inserting and displaying the records from Python from MySQL database with the help of Python MySQL PyMySQL library. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to insert data into the database via Tkinter form. I will make a form that will contain two values, two text box. One is of name and the second is of marks, and a button. And by clicking on a button, the name and marks will be we will pick up their values, and after picking up their values, we are going to insert this value into the database. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, do click on a subscribe button and do subscribe to my channel for getting all the latest updates of technical education and programming tutorials. So, and if you have not watched my earlier video of Python, in which I am like stated you, in which I have stated you all the basic concepts of MySQL and how to install MySQL, PyMySQL library into your this Python file, you can just watch the older video on my channel. So moving to this part, like first of all, I need to import one directory, that is import pymysql. So this need to be installed. How you can install this? I can just give you a short remember, like it's file, moving to the settings, then project interpreter, then you have to click on a plus, you have to search here pymysql. Right now I have installed this earlier, so it's not showing in the white color. If it is not installed, then you have to click on install package. After successfully installing it, it will be showing you on this window. So imports pymysql, and now I'm going to create like I can say database form inserting into my SQL, right? So moving to this part, first of all, I need to open a connection. Before opening a connection, let's make a form. Let it be label one, and label I can just say here as window, and in the window I will be using text name and dot place you can define x equals to 10, y equals to 50. And now the entry one, it's ent. I need an entry box, so entry, it should be window. And look, if you have to pick up the value of this entry box, you should this like in the label I have just put place with the help of this dot this dot function, or you can say this dot helps in combining this label declaration and the place and its layout. But if you want to pick up the value of this entry box, you need to define it in the separate lines. So entry will be, if you want to pick up this value, then you have to define entry in one line and its place would be defining in another line. So it is mandatory as basically if you want to pick up the value for that. So x will be 150 and y is equals to 50. And I'm going to just copy this. Let it be label 2, x equals to 10 and y should be 70, and let it be entry 2, and x will be 150 and y will be 7. And now I can just like have a run on this. So I have displayed name, I have not changed here, entry 2, and like marks, it's entry 1 and it's entry 2. So here the form is being made, its name and its marks, right? So explaining you this, that's entry one, x is this, first of all, the label one, x is 10 and y is 50. Entry one, x is 150 and y is 50. And in the case of label 2, x is 10 and y increases, it comes to 70. And in entry 2, In label 2, it's X10 and Y17. Entry 2, it's X150 and Y70. So this is the name and marks values being placed. Now moving to the next part. So this is a form. Before making a button, let's open the connection. So I can say here as connect variable py mysql dot connect host equals to localhost, user equals to root, password equals to blank, and my database is, let's check out the database, what it is. So database is my Python database. So Python database, and now I will be opening the cursor. See, like if you are not getting these all are explained, the its basics are all explained in my video, in one of my database video of Python. You can check it in the playlist of Python, and you can get this all why we are using. In that I have been explained every each and everything. So next connect cursor, I have opened a connection variable to my Python database, and cursor is used to execute the query. So I have opened the cursor function, get a reference of cursor in the cursor variable. And now I'm going to define a function that is save data, and we can just check print test testing function. So testing function will be there, and I can just here put so testing function. I can just put here a button equals to button should be placed in window, and it will be text will be save data, and command equals to save data. So we need to place a button dot place equals to x equals to 100 and y equals to 90. So we can just check that everything is working fine. So I have made a name and marks. I have made a button. A button will be attached to a window, and its text will be save data. And by clicking on a save data, it will be calling a function called save data, and it is placed between x equals to 100 and y equals to 90. So by clicking on a save data function, save data button, the testing function has been called. So now I am going to get the values of entry. For that, we have a function called dot get. So marks ent2 dot get, and here I can say as cursor dot execute. You can say insert into student. We have a table as student table, name marks values, and we can say here as single quote. We need to double quote in order to break this query, and in this query I'm going to give name variable that I have get from entry 1, and the next will be marks variable that I have got get from entry 2. So after executing this, we need to call the commit function on connect on my connection, and after that I'm going to print a record insert. So we can just run this. So here I can say here as John 1000. So save data. By clicking on a save data, I have got a message of record inserted, and if I'm going to check in my backend by clicking on a browse button, the values are being placed in my database as John and 1000. So having a quick review about all these things is that how things working. So I have created a label and the entry I have placed it with the help of place function. Then I have created a save data function and a button. By clicking on a button, it is going to call a function called save data. While clicking on a save data, entry one, that is the name of this text box, the value will be get is a function of entry that will pick up a value which we have written and will be saved in my name variable. Same in the case of entry 2, whatever the user writes over here, after clicking on a save function, it is being fetched in the marks variable. Then I have like insert into the student table name and marks values, uh, the name and the marks. So in order to save it in the database, we need to call a commit function, that is to be called on this connection variable that have a reference of this database, Python database. And in the last, the message has been appeared as record inserted. So in this way you can in this way you can add your data into your database via Tkinter form. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to insert data into the database via Tkinter form. I will make a form that will contain two values, two text box. One is of name and the second is of marks, and a button. And by clicking on a button, the name and marks will be we will pick up their values, and after picking up their values, we are going to insert this value into the database. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, do click on a subscribe button and do subscribe to my channel for getting all the latest updates of technical education and programming tutorials. So, and if you have not watched my earlier video of Python, in which I am like stated you, in which I have stated you all the basic concepts of MySQL and how to install MySQL, PyMySQL library into your this Python file, you can just watch the older video on my channel. So moving to this part, like first of all, I need to import one directory, that is import pymysql. So this need to be installed. How you can install this? I can just give you a short remember, like it's file, moving to the settings, then project interpreter, then you have to click on a plus, you have to search here pymysql. Right now I have installed this earlier, so it's not showing in the white color. If it is not installed, then you have to click on install package. After successfully installing it, it will be showing you on this window. So import pymysql, and now I'm going to create like I can say database form inserting into my SQL, right? So moving to this part, first of all, I need to open a connection. Before opening a connection, let's make a form. Let it be label one, and label I can just say here as window, and in the window I will be using text name and dot place you can define x equals to 10, y equals to 50. And now the entry one, it's ent. I need an entry box, so entry, it should be window. And look, if you have to pick up the value of this entry box, you should this like in the label I have just put place with the help of this dot this dot function, or you can say this dot helps in combining this label declaration and the place and its layout. But if you want to pick up the value of this entry box, you need to define it in the separate lines. So entry will be, if you want to pick up this value, then you have to define entry in one line and its place would be defining in another line. So it is mandatory as basically if you want to pick up the value for that. So x will be 150 and y is equals to 50. And I'm going to just copy this. Let it be label 2, x equals to 10 and y should be 70, and let it be entry 2, and x will be 150 and y will be 7. And now I can just like have a run on this. So I have displayed name, I have not changed here, entry 2, and like marks, it's entry 1 and it's entry 2. So here the form is being made, its name and its marks, right? So explaining you this, that's entry one, x is this, first of all the label one, x is 10 and y is 50. Entry one, x is 150 and y is 50. And in the case of label 2, x is 10 and y increases, it comes to 70. And in entry 2, In label 2 it's x10 and y17, entry 2 it's x150 and y70. So this is the name and marks values being placed. Now moving to the next part. So this is a form. Before making a button, let's open the connection. So I can say here as connect variable py mysql dot connect host equals to localhost, user equals to root, password equals to blank, and my database is, let's check out the database, what it is. So database is my Python database. So Python database, and now I will be opening the cursor. See, like if you are not getting these all are explained, the its basics are all explained in my video, in one of my database video of Python. You can check it in the playlist of Python, and you can get this all why we are using. In that I have been explained every each and everything. So next connect cursor, I have opened a connection variable to my Python database, and cursor is used to execute the query. So I have opened the cursor function, get a reference of cursor in the cursor variable. And now I'm going to define a function that is save data, and we can just check print test testing function. So testing function will be there, and I can just here put so testing function. I can just put here a button equals to button should be placed in window, and it will be text will be save data, and command equals to save data. So we need to place a button dot place equals to x equals to 100 and y equals to 90. So we can just check that everything is working fine. So I have made a name and marks. I have made a button. A button will be attached to a window, and its text will be save data. And by clicking on a save data, it will be calling a function called save data, and it is placed between x equals to 100 and y equals to 90. So by clicking on a save data function, save data button, the testing function has been called. So now I am going to get the values of entry. For that, we have a function called dot get. So marks ent2 dot get, and here I can say as cursor dot execute. You can say insert into student. We have a table as student table, name marks values, and we can say here as single quote. We need to double quote in order to break this query, and in this query I'm going to give name variable that I have get from entry 1, and the next will be marks variable that I have got get from entry 2. So after executing this, we need to call the commit function on connect or my connection, and after that I'm going to print a record insert. So we can just run this. So here I can say here as John 1000. So save data. By clicking on a save data, I have got a message of record inserted, and if I'm going to check in my backend by clicking on a browse button, the values are being placed in my database as John and 1000. So having a quick review about all these things is that how things working. So I have created a label and the entry I have placed it with the help of place function. Then I have created a save data function and a button. By clicking on a button, it is going to call a function called save data. While clicking on a save data, entry one, that is the name of this text box, the value will be get is a function of entry that will pick up a value which we have written and will be saved in my name variable. Same in the case of entry 2, whatever the user writes over here, after clicking on a save function, it is being fetched in the marks variable. Then I have like insert into the student table name and marks values, uh, the name and the marks. So in order to save it in the database, we need to call a commit function, that is to be called on this connection variable that have a reference of this database, Python database. And in the last, the message has been appeared as record inserted. So in this way you can in this way you can add your data into your database via Tkinter form. So I hope you like this video and do like and share, subscribe to my channel. And if you like my video, do like and share my video too. Thanks for watching the video.